Well, hello and welcome to the Amanda Kaufman Show. I have been working on rebranding or rethinking what I want to do with my podcast, my YouTube show for a while. And I decided to keep it simple and make it basically a way to talk to you very directly. And I just redid the whole bumper intro and everything. And I'm going to talk to you about high performance. I'm going to talk to you about marketing. I'm going to talk to you about sales, but I'm also going to talk to you about my journey when it came to becoming an entrepreneur and a mother and a person who's working through stuff and making it happen. And I'm just going to talk to you as Amanda. That's what I decided I wanted to do. You know, I went through a lot of different iterations. This is probably the third major iteration of this particular podcast. But did you know that when it came to being an entrepreneur, I started this journey secretly? Yes, when I very first started, I started out with a blog that no longer exists, or if it does, it's being run by somebody else, called strategymom.com. And it started with me having a desire to find tribe, find people who wanted to have success in their career and have success in motherhood. And I just had a really hard time finding women like me that I could connect with, that I could find community with, and that wanted to geek out on how to have a lot of productivity and also have a lot of fun with the domestic side of being an involved parent, while at the same time not getting lost in domesticity when you could be kicking a lot of patootie in your career that you had worked so hard to create. So I created articles and published them anonymously on this strategymom.com blog years ago, like way before, like when blogging really wasn't cool, you know, when, back in the day. And I kept it a secret because I was worried that my employer was going to find out about it and get the wrong idea about it, and that it could compromise my paycheck. And I didn't want anything bad to befall my family, so I kept it under wraps. But that was really the budding of what helped me eventually create my next iteration of my blog, which eventually became the seeds of my business, Making It Happen with Amanda Kaufman. And that really was what led me to become a coach, a full-time coach. I went from being a coach that kind of snuck it in on the side in the workplace to becoming a full-time coach, and to becoming a freelancer, really, of somebody who trades time for money as a coach, to then realizing, you know what, my real passion, the thing I really, really want to do, is become a business owner and an entrepreneur and solve problems in the world. So I started out as a consultant and a career woman, and I became an entrepreneur. But along the way, there were all these iterations and changes that I went through to sit here now to tell you about it on the Amanda Kaufman Show. And I want the Amanda Kaufman Show to be more like, us sharing a cup of something, whatever makes you feel good. This is my dregs of coffee. I love coffee. Okay, I hated coffee when I was in college, fun fact, but I love it now. So I want this to be like a conversation. And so, I'm publishing this on YouTube. You are welcome to share comments there. It's also on my blog at amandakaufman.net with some additional resources and show notes and full transcript and everything there. It's also available on Apple iTunes, and I'm going to share snippets of it on my social media. You are welcome to follow me at the Amanda Kaufman on Instagram. You're also, I'm the most active on Facebook. And so if you want to have like a real conversation on Facebook, that's probably the best way to catch me, to have these conversations. But I wanted to create a place and a space, kind of going back to the whole way that I started this whole journey in the first place. The difference being that I no longer feel that I need to hide in the shadows under a pseudonym or a pen name or anything like that, because one of the coolest things about being an entrepreneur is that you get the creative freedom, the free expression that comes with that. And that's what this blog is really all about. So the other thing I thought I would talk about today that is like so much fun right now is ChatGPT. Let's talk about it. So AI, and this might feel a little non sequitur, but you know what? That's what you're going to get on this podcast is whatever's on my mind. So ChatGPT, holy cow, coolest experience ever. So just go to the Googles, just put in ChatGPT if you haven't already. This has been like adding 1 to 2 people onto my team in my business, and also kind of a personal assistant in my life. I am a huge fan of this AI thing. And if you're thinking that you're scared of it, honey, it's been here forever. You just didn't maybe realize just how prevalent it was. And the big difference is that it's now openly available to the public. All right. So you can use it now for free, and fear not, like I think that people are making a very big deal about it, and, with reason, but information being available generally to the public has been rather a popular idea ever since the invention of the library. And this technology being available publicly, in my opinion, is an amazing thing. So you have 2 choices. You can choose to hate a thing that is an inevitability and, like I said, has been around for a really long time. You just didn't get access to it. Or you can, like I said, go to the Google and you can start playing with this tool and start learning how to use it in your life. So places I've used ChatGPT in my own life that has been pretty darn cool. I have a coaching business, coaching company. I own the Coaches Plaza. You can check that out at thecoachesplaza.com. But obviously, copywriting has been huge. You can ask it questions. It's a conversational tool. So it's kind of like you're having a conversation with a bot that is very well spoken. So kind of think of it like that. But it remembers your conversation and it learns, so you can train it on what you want it to say back to you. So this is really cool. So for example, earlier this week, I was running a webinar and I hosted the webinar, and we had written emails for the invitations to the webinar. And then I had a last minute change of heart about how I wanted to send a replay out. And we just didn't have an email written for sending out the replay announcement. So what I did is I went into ChatGPT and I uploaded the emails, or I entered the emails, and I said, hey, ChatGPT, here's the emails that we had sent for the invitations. And then I simply asked it, would you kindly write an email? I feel a need to be polite to my robots. It's just my nature. Anyway, I decided to ask it to write an email following the same structure, format, and tone to my audience, to tell them about the replay for the webinar. And holy moly, like the quality of the copy that came out was fantastic. Now, One of the things I'll tell you about using ChatGPT to do things like writing emails and captions and all that kind of thing, when people are being really negative on it, it's because they're not training the tool to be productive for them. And so I love the phrase GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. And it's the same thing when you're a coach or you're a salesperson or you're a marketer. If you put garbage into a process or a system, you're going to get garbage out of it. So ChatGPT is no exception to that. The reason why the email that I got out was so good is because we did such a good job of the emails that were going into it. So when it spat out the email that I needed, the missing piece in my puzzle, it was pretty darn good because we had trained it using really strong inputs. So it's not going to be a replacement for you having great knowledge about your subject matter. It's not going to be a replacement for you having empathy and understanding for what's called for as a human being. There is no substitute for that. But kind of think of it like, language's calculator. Like people really get up in arms about using tools like this, but I'm really excited about it because it's kind of like nowadays everybody has calculators on their phones and they don't think anything of using calculators to be able to do math faster. Think of this as having like a language processing calculator available to you that can help you make lists, structure communications, structure presentations, and all that kind of thing so much faster. And which will allow you to be far more productive. And even if you start having to pay for a tool like this, you'll be able to be far more productive, which is a really exciting thing, in my humble opinion. All right. So the other thing I thought I would talk to you about today, and this is like non sequitur stuff. Whatever. Welcome to the show. Okay. What heels in Vegas taught me. So recently, I actually went on a trip to not Las Vegas. I took a trip with my grandmother and we took a cruise. And on this cruise, I really had no connection to the internet at all. Like none. No connection whatsoever. Why am I telling you this? Because I made the connection in my brain that, oh my gosh, with the pandemic, with the intensity of the past few years as I've been building my business, I've been pretty good about protecting my balance in some ways, but I had not been taking specific, discrete vacations. And I've been missing out. So in 2023, I made the commitment that I am going to take 8 weeks of vacation this year. So my first week was last week and I went to Las Vegas. So I went to Las Vegas with my dear friend who happens to be a ex-pageant queen. And this lady, one of her philosophies in life is you dress up when you go to the airport. And dress up she does. Full heels, full face of makeup, the works. Like the gal is dressed up, curled her hair, whole thing. And, that's a little more than I do, but, I no longer wear sweats on airplanes after making friends with this gal. So anyway, we're in Las Vegas and, it's just nice to wear high heels when you go out in Las Vegas. And I really just would rather wear the same shoes the whole time. And I noticed she always wears high heels, always wears high heels. And I asked her, I said, how do you always wear high heels? Really, what's your secret? Because I, unfortunately, have been the have to pack the flip-flops lady. And she said, oh, I have the answer. She says, most women, when they wear high heels, they keep their hips moving straight like so. And what you want to do is you want to sit into your hips and allow your hips to move in more of a figure 8 sway sort of a pattern. She said, look at the old movies with Marilyn Monroe and how her hips sway as she moves when she's wearing high heels. And so I gave it a go. I tried it out. And oh my gosh, I could wear high heels for days. And it blew my mind. Like the hip strain and the back strain was gone because I was allowing my hips to move side to side. It was more like kind of a slight figure eight pattern that my hips were moving in as I walked. So I had like kind of a sway as I was going. So I was feeling kind of sexy, but also what I learned, and this is my engineering mind is going nuts because I'm like, we didn't do anything about the forces. The forces were the same, but what we did is we transferred the forces into the structure of my body differently, and so it was not as painful. And I was like, oh, this is such a great learning. You know, so many times in our lives, we try to avoid forces, or we try to avoid pain, and we try to avoid, responsibilities or things that are tough, especially when we're going after goals. And, when I was thinking about, maybe you're going after a big business goal or a big health goal, or maybe you want to just do better in your relationships. And we people talk a lot about fear of success, and I don't believe in fear of success, because fear of success is, when I think about it, I'm like, that's kind of nutty, because fear of success is like you're afraid of having your life be better. You're afraid of having more resources, of having improved relationships, and having like your body not hurt, or having better well-being. Like, you're afraid of that. I don't think you're afraid of success. What we're afraid of is we're afraid of the forces or the responsibility or the friction that comes with higher levels of responsibility associated with more success. And that felt more understandable. And it's kind of like wanting to wear high heels. It's like that those forces seemed like that'd be too much for my body to handle. What it really was understanding, no, you just have to be able to move where you are putting that pressure so that you can handle the change in where you're putting that pressure. And I was like, oh, that is such a huge metaphor, because, when I first started my coaching business, for example, and I was leaving employment, I didn't get more hours per week. I still work 100, I'm living 168 hours a week now, the same as when I was an employee. And in the years where I was not making any money, or I was making very little money as a coach, or I was working as a freelancer coach and I was trading time for money, I was working the same amount as I work now as a CEO of a seven-figure business. So it's not about working harder or putting yourself under more pressure. It really is about transferring the forces around to literally work smarter and choose to do things in a different way to get a different result, and to basically manage your pain by changing where you put that pressure and that force. So that's what high heels taught me in Vegas. So yeah, that's what I had for you today. I really enjoyed just sharing some stuff with you. I hope you really enjoyed this too. And, come check us out in the Coaches Plaza. That's the main thing that I'm working on right now. You can come see us at thecoachesplaza.com. And I hope that you have a really amazing week. And I'm going to keep doing these thoughts for you. And we will see you very soon. I wonder, do I still have an outro for this? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. There's the intros and there's the outros. We'll see you soon.